Hi, folks. Welcome to another day of advisory. Happy Thursday, or as I like to call it, Friday Eve. I hope you're doing well. Today, what I want to go over is one of the 8 academic skills that we discussed last week whenever I had you fill out that form, you may recall. We're going to start our study of these academic skills with time management. Time management is one of those things that gets to everyone, whether you're a teenager or an adult, whether you're in school or a professional. Time management is something that we have to wrestle with every day. What do we do with the 24 hours in a day? How can we make the best of it? And how can we strike a balance with the time that we give to our work and schoolwork and our personal life? That said, I'm going to show you 7 helpful tips on how to manage your time better. Doing even 2 or 3 of these small changes will have a dramatic impact on your stress level and how quickly you are able to get things done. First on the list is to make a to-do list every day. Making a list on paper or on your phone can go a long way in keeping you on track with what all you need to take care of that day. Every day, whenever I come into work and I sit down at my desk, I make sure to go over or create my to-do list for the day with important tasks at the very top, or even tasks that I don't want to do all that much. I put toward the very top so that I can get them out of the way, and then all the other things that I need to accomplish to feel good about the work that I've done that day. This is what my to-do list usually looks like. I've got my daily tasks over here on the left with the most important things at the top. And I've also got little reminders that I want to have for myself for meetings or other obligations that I have during that day. And I just keep this list with me all day and check things off as I finish them. Personally, I like to keep a paper list because much of my work that I do is on the actual computer. And sometimes having that one more thing to look at on the computer is a little stressful. And I don't want to get out my phone, and so having this with me all day helps me to stay organized, and it feels good to physically cross something off with a pen after you get it done. In addition to a to-do list, I think it's a very good idea to keep some sort of calendar, again, whether it's a paper one or on your phone. Everyone probably got one of these paper planners towards the beginning of the year, and if you didn't, I think there are some extras probably sitting around the front office. Or, again, you can use your phone. And the cool thing about some of your Google Classroom activities is that the due dates for those activities will automatically populate into a Google Calendar. However you do it, it's important to keep a calendar with important due dates, events, and other things that you want to look ahead to instead of just being surprised by it whenever it happens the day of. The third time management strategy is to find your most productive time in the day to work and use that time as much as you can to do the things that you need to do. Think about the time of day you feel like you have the most mental energy. Is it in the morning whenever you first wake up and are starting your day, or is it in the afternoon after all of the craziness of the day has subsided and you finally get some quiet time? Something I know about myself is that I'm not very social in the morning, but I do get a lot of things done. Whatever time of day works best for your brain, try to carve out time to do your work during that time. The fourth strategy is probably one of the more important things to do whenever you're trying to find time to do your work, and that is to limit your distractions. This doesn't mean that you have to keep your phone away the entire time or you can't talk to your friends whenever they come up and talk to you, but it does mean that it's important to find time during the day where you will have the least amount of distractions and try to limit the amount of distractions that you have for yourself, whether that's your phone, video games, some Netflix show that you want to binge. Try to avoid having multiple things on in the background. Try to get to a quiet place and do the work that you have to do just for that time. The fifth time management strategy is to work on just one thing at a time. Multitasking is a myth. Sure, sometimes you might be able to have a couple of different tabs open and go back and forth between them. Maybe you have a few different assignments laid out in front of you and you're trying to do them all at once, a little bit at a time. What I find, and what lots of research has found, is that if you try to do everything at once, you hardly get any of them done. Instead, just focus on one activity, task, or assignment at a time. Work on that one task until it's accomplished or you feel like you reach a good stopping point if it's a longer assignment, and then take a break and move on to the next thing and just work on that thing. This also goes back to limiting your distractions. Instead of trying to have a Netflix show on at the same time that you're trying to do your homework, try to take that off and just focus on your homework. Sometimes you can listen to music. I find that if the music has words in it, I will most likely focus on the words that the music is saying rather than the actual task at hand. And so if you do listen to music, try instrumental music. However you do it, just make sure you only give your brain one thing to do at a time. The sixth strategy here is to create time blocks, and this kind of integrates a lot of things that we've already talked about. Say, for instance, that you have 2 hours of time to use to work on schoolwork. This is an example of how you could break that down. Notice that in these time blocks, I have it to where you're only doing one homework assignment or one subject at a time. You'll also notice that I include breaks. It's very important to include little breaks for yourself so that you don't get distracted in the time that you're actually trying to work. The best way to do this, and it may feel a little weird or corny at first.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn!
But set timers for yourself. That way you don't have to keep looking up at the clock to see what time it is or how much time has passed. Set a timer for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, and just do the task in that time. And if you get finished early, great. You can have an extra long break or move on to the next thing. It's also important to time your breaks when you do this so that you don't waste too much time or lose momentum if you're working on a lot of things. I included drawing practice as an example too, because it's not just homework assignments that we have to do. Maybe sometimes it's a workout, or maybe sometimes it's practicing an instrument. Some sort of extracurricular activity that you also want to improve on can be involved in one of these time blocks. The seventh strategy is to get some sleep. The average teen is supposed to get somewhere around 8 to 10 hours a night, but most get 7 or less. Without that time to recharge, without at least 8 hours of sound sleep, our bodies and our brains have a much more difficult time doing the tasks ahead of them the day after. Being deprived of sleep can affect a lot of things, including mood, behavior, how quickly and easily you can think, your academic performance, your athletic performance, even how well you drive. The best thing you can do for your brain and your body is to get plenty of sleep at night in preparation for the next day. And those are the strategies to use to improve your time management skills. What I want you to do now is use the rest of the time during advisory to do any of the 3 things that follow. Make a to-do list for the day. Create a time block schedule for the next time that you have an hour or 2 to spend on schoolwork, or fill out a calendar for the rest of the week or month so that you know what's coming up and what to expect. Thanks everyone, be good to yourself and others, and I'll see you real soon.
It's cold!